might have expected a little bit more out of The Boys series finale, but one character arc that didn't disappoint is that of Kimiko. The show really explored the best of her character, and in many ways, the show counterpart has a lot more depth and personality than the comic book version, who never actually got a real name. We love her incredible journey in the show, from a directionless, superpowered individual to the one who saves the world by making Homelander powerless. She finds the love of her life in Frenchie, and even though she loses him, she doesn't let that loss affect her true purpose. For us, the best part about her character is that the show doesn't unnecessarily kill her off, and by the end of the finale, she can be seen leading a whole new life. This brings us to today's topic, where we'll be exploring what her journey might be following the events of the series finale. A lot of this will be speculative, and there are also some major spoilers coming your way, so you've been warned, but otherwise, it's going to be a good one, and I'm ready to get into it, so let's go. Hey! So, as you all know, Kimiko was literally the key to defeating Homelander after he took the V1, which made him immune to the soup-killing virus. Frenchie and Sister Sage worked their magic on her, and she voluntarily became a part of some very painful experiments that attempted to replicate the effects on Soldier Boy by exposing her to radiation. It was successful, even though Frenchie lost his life during Homelander's sudden raid on the facility. Later, when Sage triggered Kimiko enough to make her furious, she unleashed the radioactive blast, which could render Homelander powerless. The final battle with Homelander was intense, and Butcher and Ryan managed to restrain him, while Kimiko focused her radioactive blast on all of them. It didn't take much for Butcher to kill a powerless Homelander, and her actions saved the world from an era of oppression and madness. In the aftermath, Kimiko was seen in Marseille, France, which also happens to be Frenchie's hometown. Throughout the show, we've seen this incredible love grow between them, and it seems that she intends to honor his memory as she starts a quiet new life. She adopts a dog and sits at a cafe, trying to take it all in as she still carries the weight of her grief, but now with the armor of some good memories with Frenchie. The first possibility is that Kimiko will continue to lead her life in self-imposed exile. She's been through a lot, probably more than anyone else in the show. She's lost her family, and the only true love she ever received was from Frenchie, who actually helped her transformation. They even planned to settle down together after this was all over, but unfortunately, fate had other plans. Kimiko doesn't strike us as someone who can actively move on from all of this very easily. A low-profile life will suit her perfectly because she loves to stay by herself, and now is the time to live a carefree life without worrying about a soup coming after her. We're guessing that she'll deliberately avoid Vought, soups, and the media, and a small-town life would be the perfect fit, away from the limelight and attention. She might even find work at a small cafe or a shop to make enough money to survive. Also, wouldn't it be the perfect end to her romance if she ended up learning French and doing all the things that she planned to do with Frenchie just to honor their wonderful love story? But setting aside this peaceful new life, there are a few other things that come to mind when we imagine the next stage of Kimiko's life. For instance, she's already proven to have the power to make other soups powerless. And I mean, Homelander might be gone, but there are still several twisted and evil soups out there who could still pose a threat to society. As Butcher once said, there can always be another Homelander as long as soups remain in the world. And for better or worse, the show ends with many soups still remaining. This is where we see the potential for Kimiko to be an enforcer. The job that was offered to Huey as an official of the Department of Soup Affairs should actually be offered to Kimiko, who could actually make a difference. Just imagine, a soup goes rogue and needs to be brought in or rendered powerless. Kimiko is the best person to send in to end the threat permanently. Honestly, this seems like the perfect story arc for one of the show's spin-offs, so we think there's a great chance Kimiko becomes a covert operative in the future, where she's tasked with tracking down dangerous soups who still pose a threat. This would make her something of an anti-superhero, and we think that's a life that she would enjoy more than a retirement in a small French town. After experiencing so much personal loss, she might need purpose in her life, and what better purpose than protecting the world from deadly threats? Also, this life would mean that she needed to work with a team like the Boys. Wouldn't that be wonderful? All the surviving members like Huey, MM, and Starlight came back together for yet another run as they go about reining in rogue soups. Another job profile that would really suit Kimiko is that of a social worker disguised as an anonymous vigilante. She's one of the soups who still has her powers, and her powers are significant enough to handle almost any kind of threat. We can totally see her working for a social cause, specifically preventing human trafficking. She's survived the evils of trafficking back in the day, and nobody knows about the horrors of this better than her. It would be poetic to see her take to a new life where she tracks down rogue elements and criminals in society involved in these sort of operations. She'd make quick work of them, free hundreds of innocent victims, and this would give her a satisfaction that few other jobs jobs could deliver. Lastly, something that concerns us is that she might not be doing great emotionally, especially if she chooses the quiet life. I mean, truly, she deserves all the peace and quiet in the world after a lifetime of violence, but with no more Frenchie, it'll end up becoming a life of solitude. We can't help but wonder if such a life would take a darker turn into a rabbit hole of depression, and the last thing you want is an unstable Kimiko with the kind of powers that she has. Also, if they actually ever continue the story or create a spin-off featuring Kimiko, we think that could be a nice beginning, Kimiko leading an uneventful life somewhere in France. She's not able to get over her depression until one day she finds purpose when a new threat emerges that requires her intervention. That kind of sounds like the perfect superhero story, right? The hero is brought back into action even though she's reluctant to return, but when duty calls, she puts her grief aside for the greater good. Overall, the show leaves Kimiko with an air of mystery and new possibilities because her character can actually go places from where it ends things. We found this rather intriguing, and even if they decide to go for a standalone spin-off series based on the next stage of Kimiko's life, we'd be really excited to watch it. Out of all the things that might happen to her, we think that she deserves a life of her choosing after her incredible contribution to ending the threat of Homelander and all the sacrifices she endured along the way. That said, we'd love to hear your take on the matter in the comments down below, and feel free to let us know what, according to you, is the best course of action for Kimiko in the future now that the biggest goal in her life has been fulfilled. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more stuff like it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.